Welcome to the 20th episode of the Illegal Use of Hands to the Face Football Podcast. How you doing, Jake?
I'm doing great, Hayden. How are you?
Tremendous, as per usual. What is it, like the middle of April sometime? Friday night? Good day. We're really heating it up. We're getting really close to the draft, actually, though, which is actually exciting. That's crazy how close we are. It feels like it's gotten here pretty quickly. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's so close, but yet so far.
This definitely, doing the podcast twice a week has definitely sped up the off season, because it does not feel like it has been that long since the Super Bowl. Or I guess it's really that the time has passed, but it's been filled in well.
Yeah.
Which has been really nice. I've enjoyed it a lot. Have you?
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing this for 10 weeks now. It's been fun. It's been keeping us up to date. Yeah, entertained and up to date, and I can't wait to predict every single first round, second round, third round pick,
and
every single pick,
and get them all correct.
Get them all right. Take Mel Kiper's job.
Yeah,
that's the reason we have this podcast.
Oh, I know. It's great proof. I mean, they can't lie. They can't look back at it and say you didn't do it, because we can say, yeah, we called it.
Yeah. Evidence.
What is it? Sorry. Oh yeah, the running backs today and fullbacks. We got news, but just want to let everybody know that you are the fullback master here, so you're gonna teach us all about the fullbacks.
Yeah, I'm the fullback master.
I definitely didn't make a mistake and forget that I was supposed to look at fullbacks. I mean, they are really important, but you know.
Yeah, I'm definitely the fullback master, not the guy that played fullback during his football career.
Nah. I don't know much. I wasn't very good at it. Yeah, but so we got some news. What do you got?
Yes. Well, the biggest thing that's happened since the last episode, Jadeveon Clowney signed with the Browns. What do you think of that? I mean, I think it was kind of written on the wall for a while that he was gonna go there. There's a lot of interest from both sides, and trigger finally got pulled.
I think it's pretty funny, because we got Jadeveon Clowney kind of doing the thing that everybody's saying that you shouldn't do, which is take 1-year deals, because then if you get injured, you may not get paid again. Well, what I feel like has happened recently is that Jadeveon Clowney has been getting injured, taking 1-year deals, and still getting paid. So, if people keep paying him just because of like potential, then this 1-year deal thing isn't so bad, because the $10 million that he can earn up to this season, I don't know what his base salary actually is, but if he got anywhere close to that actual $10 million for what he earned, I think he would probably do that's probably more than he would earn on a multi-year deal, at least at this point in his career. I think he's a little further along than guys like Bud Dupree, who just got drastically overpaid for absolutely no reason other than the fact that the Titans had such an awful D-line before.
Yeah. And, I mean, they get 2 former number 1 overall picks at defensive end for them. 2 very different kinds of defensive ends, too, which is interesting. I can't wait to see what they do with that.
They're both vicious in different senses.
Yes, yeah.
One guy knocks a guy's helmet off by hitting him really hard and in the backfield recovering a fumble, the biggest play of his career at South Carolina. And then the other guy just takes the helmet off the other player and tries to hit him with it. I mean, it's a really different method of going about things. I'm just kidding, though, obviously. No, they're both crazy. I think Myles Garrett's just a little more consistent than Clowney is at this point.
Yep. And other news out of Cleveland, with that Jadeveon Clowney signing, Sheldon Richardson got cut. So he's on the market now. What team do you think is going to sign him?
Oh boy, you're asking me to think about defensive lines. Oh, that is not necessarily a strong suit of mine. Let's just looking around. Who has money? Who still has money to spend? Let's send him to Jacksonville. Jacksonville still has money, right? They didn't spend too much.
Yeah.
I think they still got space to give him a contract. So that's the only reason I'm picking them. Plus, they got rid of guys like Ngakwe and Calais Campbell recently, so I don't know if they're as sure, at least in the D-line perspective. I love the linebacking core, but I think we're looking at Sheldon Richardson definitely as a down lineman. So
Hmm.
I'll go Jacksonville. Money
Yeah.
and kind of some holes to fill.
Yeah, I can agree with that. He need a like run stuffing D tackle there. They got all the young pieces on their D line. They could use some veteran depth there, so it'd be all right. And what I got two more things.
Okay.
This will be a short, quick one. DRC Dominique Rogers Cromartie says that he is still looking for a job in the NFL. Uh, he has verbally taken a contract with Tennessee to be their, not the Titans, the college, to be their defensive backs coach. But he's still looking for a job. He won't officially sign a contract with Tennessee until he
drafted in 2008?
sounds about right.
I mean, what was he when he came out of school? Like 22? He's got to be 36 or 37 now, right? Okay, well, actually, I guess just thinking about it mathematically, if he's 36, 37, that's actually a little younger than I just initial reaction.
He's 35.
Yeah, yeah, definite. Okay, so he's younger than I actually would have just first assumed without really thinking about anything. Um, so, I mean, he could still probably do it, but I wouldn't want him to be on the field all the time. I'd start to be scared that could become a liability fairly quickly.
Yeah, probably if he does get signed just for veteran leadership and someone to help mentor younger guys. But
Yeah.
yeah. And the last thing, which I thought was the most funny, the funniest thing that I read in the past couple of days is the Eagles are now looking to trade back into the top 10 of the draft. After trading out of the top 10 from 6 to 12, they want to trade back into the top 10. So
Who do they want?
I don't know. I think it just goes to show how dysfunctional that franchise
Is
is.
it just
That
because of the Cowboys thing with Pitts? You heard about that, right?
yeah,
I
I heard
don't know.
about
There
that.
hasn't been like any other talk of teams. Like nobody else is stupid enough to say, "Oh yeah, we're at pick whatever." Like at least outside of the top two picks, and to really like make it clear that you're picking anybody, um, outside of the top two picks, is not a good idea. Is it literally just because the Eagles want Kyle Pitts badly?
I I don't know. I just saw that there's rumors circulating about them wanting to trade back into the top 10, and
That's
I don't know who they thought who's gained a lot of traction besides Kyle Pitts that they thought, "Oh, we can still get him at 12," and then in 2 weeks or whatever, since they've made that move, they don't think they can get that guy anymore.
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just don't get why. Yeah, I don't know who else it could be. Because why would they put that out there and not like just wait till draft night to see how things are fall like if you didn't want to leave the pick, don't trade out of the pick. It's not that
Mhm.
complicated. Um
Maybe
it's weird. It's very strange.
the, I have seen some stuff about if the Niners take Justin Fields instead of Mac Jones, Denver's might make a move to trade up and get Mac Jones, and maybe the Eagles want to take a quarterback, and they
What
don't
pick
think
is
it's going to fall
Denver
them at
at?
12, 9, 8 or 9,
But
9.
who's in between Denver and Atlanta that is going to take a quarterback away from them?
Miami,
You think Miami's going to take a quarterback?
the Lions. The Lions might be one.
I
Uh,
don't know. They could, but I'd be surprised if either of those teams pick quarterbacks, to be honest.
mhm. But
But
I
you're definitely right about a trade in scenario. I just hate the idea of trading up just so that another team can't trade up. That doesn't fly with me.
yeah.
Like that was what I mean, the teams like there's some bad examples of that. I mean, the one that immediately comes to mind is wasn't the Bears moving up one pick to get Trubisky? That was what they did, right? That was
Yeah.
just to block other teams from trading up. That was a bad move. And I don't even know if anybody was going to take him from him. Like, not even talking about the pick itself and how it turned out. Just like, I don't think anybody was going to steal him from him. That's just a bad idea. And if they do, props to them, but I wouldn't want to do that. I don't like the idea of trading up most of the time unless you are 1,000,000,000% sold on somebody. And really the only time that happens is if you trade up to the number 1 pick. After that, you could think about it on some instances, but most of the time I'm not interested in trading up.
Yeah, the funniest thing about that Bears trade up with the Niners that always makes me think and gets me laughing is the Niners came out and said, "Oh yeah, we're going to draft Solomon Thomas at 2." So going from 2 to 3, I mean, we're still going to draft him either way, and it's just.
Well, yeah, like I said though, I don't know if they were necessarily going from the perspective of.
Oh no, I agree.
The,
I just
the
still think that that's funny.
Take it from him.
Yeah, yeah. Just 2 dysfunctional franchises not really knowing how to handle the draft, and that just seems to be a common theme with teams and leadership.
Yeah. All right. Did you have one more thing, or was that up?
Nope, that's everything.
Okay. Well, would you like to lead us into your fullback? Would you? I don't know. You can do this however you want. You want to run it down in a speed manner, or do you just want to like really, really dig in deep, or whatever you want? Just feel free to let it all out with the fullbacks.
I don't see the point in me going too much in depth with these guys, especially if there's not going to be a lot of discourse with them. So I'm just going to run them off quick. Here's my top 5 for fullbacks. At number 5 out of Stanford, we got Houston Hemulei. He's a pure blocking fullback. His dad played in the NFL, so that could give him some brownie points, maybe move him up a couple spots here. Funniest thing that I saw for him, not that it's funny, but Stanford has the Jack Huston Award, which goes to the toughest, not the strongest, but the toughest athlete in like the whole school, and he won it twice. So, I mean, that's what you want in your fullback. At number 4 out of University of Alabama Birmingham, University of Alabama Birmingham, UAB. We got Spencer Brown. Spencer Brown is Mike Tolbert. He's very stout, compact fullback that they put in at running back when their running back got hurt. He makes a lot of plays out of the backfield with his hands. And he's got some speed to get away from guys too. But
is he gonna get way too many carries like 10 years into his career in the NFL? Is he just gonna start stealing running back carries for absolutely no reason?
That's the dream. That's the dream for every fullback. At number 3, I got Mason Stockey out of Wisconsin. He's Derek Watt 2.0, not just because he's from Wisconsin, but Derek Watt with the Chargers is a lot better fullback than he is now with the Steelers, mainly because he got used with the Chargers. And Derek Watt isn't much of a running fullback. He's a blocking and a pass-catching fullback. Derek Watt doesn't do a lot being handed the ball. He does a lot when the ball's thrown to him. And that's exactly what Mason Stockey does. He catches everything that's thrown to him. He has a couple ridiculous catches for a fullback out of the backfield. The only tape that I could see on him was when I had to look at Jonathan Taylor highlights, so I didn't see his most recent tape. But he opens up huge holes. Great lead blocker, flattens guys. At number 2 from Michigan, I got Ben Mason. The guy is an absolute sledgehammer. I watched the list. I told you about this before we started recording. The list that I took fullbacks off of had like 3 running backs on it. Yep. And he was the first pure fullback that I saw. So the first thing I wrote for him, besides sledgehammer, is he is an actual fullback.
Yay!
He was an Ironman player for the Wolverines. He played on the D-line. Solid tackler, too, because his tape was intercut with him doing a bunch of stuff. So he can be like a Pat Ricard, but he's a more athletic Pat Ricard. Slimmer, stronger, I'd say, too. They use him a lot in short yardage. Gets everything when he's a yard or 2 out from the end zone. And great with lead blocks. And then at number 1, my favorite guy to watch was Tony Carter the dude is a menace on special teams. He just goes out there to take heads off on kickoffs and everything. Uh, he makes a lot of catches out of the backfield. When he gets handoffs, he's looking to get contact and try to run you over so that way he can have a highlight on his way to the end zone. And he has an awesome personality. I don't know how many YouTube videos I saw that LSU's football team posted on their YouTube channel of just interviews with him. And they're like, "Do you wake up mad?" And he's like, "Every day I wake up mad."
Oh boy, I was about to say, what school do you play for? Okay.
Yeah, LSU. So those are my top 5 fullbacks.
Alrighty. So ready to get into running backs then? Because I can't.
Yeah,
on them.
why don't you start us off with running backs here?
Okay. So I watched 12 guys. The bottom 2 guys for me that did not make the list are Demetric Felton out of UCLA and Jarrett Patterson from Buffalo. I don't know. Just these bottom guys here, kind of like I don't know. It just doesn't feel like they're creating a lot for themselves. And running back is a hard position to evaluate because it's so reliant on blocking. And like a lot of these guys are just at schools that have killer blocking for them, and that really knocks. I'd say the bottom. These 2 guys that are my honorable mentions, and then 10 through 8 for me are also like guys that are just at schools that are really helped out by the blocking schemes. But number 10 for me is where I was thinking about leaving him off, but he did beat out Demetric Felton, so he made the list for me. Javonte Williams out of North Carolina. He's that North Carolina offensive line. I'll start with that. They're killers. They're maulers. They're creating massive holes because, as we saw, they're getting great production from multiple running backs at that school. But if there were more plays like against Miami, there's one play that like if that was how like even if he did like a quarter of what he did on that one play in like every other play that I see from him, I would be a lot more interested in him. It's just the fact that besides that Miami play, it seems like most of the time he's really not creating much of the running lanes or whatever you want to call them himself. He's just taking what the offensive line is giving him, and he's not doing anything crazy. To be honest, I could have ranked him a little higher. Probably gotten him up to that 8th spot because, as I said, these lower guys are kind of all for the same thing. I feel like it was blocking more than their actual play that was producing for them. But it just really trying to drive the point home with how I see it, which is that a lot of other people have him ranked a lot higher, and I would be really scared to touch him anywhere near as high as other people want to take him.
Okay. I also have him on my list, so I'll get to him when I get to him. At 10 for me, I got Puka Williams out of Kansas. He was an interesting watch. Did you catch any of him? I don't know if he was on your list of 12.
He was not in the top 12.
Okay. He was a very interesting watch. Hold on, I lost him. All right, there he is. It's funny. He's I consider him a home run hitter because he gets the ball and just is gone. But he isn't like really. He doesn't have top line speed. Most of his like home run hits are the O line like creating a huge hole for him, and also them like blitzing or sending like every single defensive back to like go and try to get him. And he just has no one downfield to like
run committing, and somehow they filled every gap except for the one he's running to.
Yes, that's what it seemed like. But he's shifty when he does have to try to get past the guy. And another thing though, when they run commit, he does find a way to squeeze through little holes that can open up for him. And thing that stopped him from being 11 and getting to 10 is he had a passing touchdown highlight, so he brings that versatility to your team. He can if a team wants to if a team wants to switch completely over to a Wildcat offense, Puka Williams is your guy.
That is exciting. Get him with Chenault LaVisca.
Yeah.
Visca's in Jacksonville. Man, maybe Urban Meyer. I'll get creative. I doubt it though. I doubt it. That's too bad. Man. Okay, number 9 for me. I've got Chuba Hubbard out of Oklahoma State. I really take everything I said about Javonte Williams, and honestly, Javonte Williams, even though he's not creating most of the time, he probably was creating a little more than Hubbard was. But Hubbard, I think just probably, I didn't look at 40 times, but I'm just guessing, pure speculation here, just by watching the guys on the field. I'm guessing that he probably would have had one of the top tier 40 times for him, because I mean, they said world-class speed a bunch, which probably means that he was probably running track or something. And I mean, when he did get into the open field, he was very fast. So it's kind of an element of that. Just use his speed. It may be helpful. I mean, you obviously need good blocking for that, but if you can get him in the open field, he could be a dangerous weapon.
Mm-hmm. He's also on my list, so I'll talk about him when I hit him. At 9 for me, out of Virginia Tech, I have Khalil Herbert. Was he
Yes.
someone that you watched? Okay. He reminded me, he has a similar size to Doug Martin, so that was kind of a guy that I was looking at when, like, the first highlight I saw of him, I was like, oh, okay. And then I looked at his weight and height, and I was like, oh, okay, so he does have, like, the similar build to him. He has a lot of quick bursts. He hits his holes hard and fast. He finishes his runs every single time by running into a guy and trying to, like, be like, okay, if you're gonna be the one that stops me, try to stop me. So I like that. The one thing that is a big knock on him is if someone puts a hand on him, he loses his balance really, really easily, and he was stumbling a lot when he was getting through holes. Not that he would fall down every time, but if you just got a finger on him, he would be stumbling for 2 yards before he gained his balance. It was taken off again. I'm not sure if you saw that, but that was just one of the major things that I noted. Every single time he went through a hole that wasn't perfectly clean, he was coming out of it stumbling.
I did not note that, but I'll tell you, it wasn't in depth. I'll tell you exactly. Well, here, I'll just tell you this now. He's 8 for me, so like we can just kind of do this conversation at the same time. So for him, basically what I saw is I was not seeing like much of like handoff highlights from him. I was just seeing him continuously catching screen passes and getting great blocking. But 2 things that kind of help him, that get him above the other guys, in terms of this tier where I'm like kind of suspect on them because of how solid the blocking was in front of them, is that the amount of times he's catching screens. I mean, that's an element of his game that's probably pretty nice for a lot of people to think he has. Just receiving out of the backfield, I think a lot of teams like that, especially nowadays, obviously. And then he seems fairly fast, not lightning quick, but fairly fast. And he does have an interesting tendency to be pretty successful on the cutback and using those blockers that get out in front of him pretty well. So that's what I have to say. But honestly, running like even inside I don't really remember him like running inside the tackles at all. I just felt like every play I was watching, he was just catching a screen pass.
Yeah, I noted that too, that he's used a lot in the pass game. I wrote screen god there too. Yeah. And they use him in the return game too, I saw. He had a couple highlights returning kicks, and I was like, that's kind of weird. He doesn't seem like the type of back that you would have back there returning.
What, he doesn't seem like
kicks.
Sproles?
No, he not to me, he didn't. Like I said,
no, I'm just saying that because you said he's Doug Martin, so I'm saying
that's why I thought. Like I said out loud, I was like, "Oh, he's kind of like Doug Martin," and then the very next play that came up was him returning a kickoff, and I was, "Oh,
never mind."
Maybe he isn't. Yeah, maybe he isn't like Doug Martin." Yeah. So he was 8 for you. You said.
Yeah.
Okay. At 8 for me, I got Javian Hawkins. Did you watch him?
Nope.
Okay. He's an interesting watch if you got some time to watch. He's very, very, very thin.
Oh
He's
boy. Wait, is
like
he wait. Is he the either USF or UCF kid?
no, he's from Louisville.
Was there an RB that was from USF or UCF that you watched?
Uh,
No. I mean, it's not a
uh,
big deal. No, there was a really
USF.
tiny guy.
No.
There was a really tiny guy from one of those schools that I watched actually the other day, and it wasn't when I was watching for like us making our lists, and it was just funny because of how small he was. But I wasn't terribly
No,
impressed with him
I
anyways.
did not see that.
I don't even remember his name. So sorry.
He's 5'9", 196, which doesn't sound bad, but he's got some thin legs. Like he looks very, very small.
Every day
He's
is
a
arm day.
yeah. But he is a absolute speedster. Uh I thought, and this is why he's above Khalil Herbert for me. He did Khalil Herbert did a lot in the passing game, like you noted. This guy was getting handoffs and taking them off, and he had this great almost every single play was him running and then getting stuffed and then turning like 180, just turning around and then going back up the other side and zooming off and scoring a touchdown every single time. That's not going to work in the NFL at all. He's going to get killed if he tries to just turn back around and run it the other way.
Nah, I
But
like it.
it was fun to watch. He does. I make that sound like he can't cut back. Well, he can. His cutbacks are unreal. He played Pitt and lived to tell the tale. His legs did not get broken.
Wait,
so
wait, a tiny guy played against Pitt and he lived. Oh, good
Yes.
lord, that's scary. Oh, that's
Mhm.
good job to him. A round of applause.
I don't know what you're gonna do with the rest of your career, but you played Pitt and lived to tell the tale. Yeah, he's
He
very
didn't
shifty.
take your head off.
Yeah, he's very shifty. Only being 5'9", they had him run some wheel routes out of the backfield and just were throwing it up to him. And we're like, okay, go and get it. And he was winning almost every single one-on-one ball.
Well, you see, his legs aren't heavy, so it makes it easier to get him off the ground.
Yeah, I guess. But it was really, really fun to watch him. But I don't know how well he's going to hold up. Like he looks scarier than it would be for Devontae Smith because this dude's legs are just so thin, and at running back, that's where you're getting hit almost every single time. So I don't know how well he'll last, but he could be a fun like third down back for a team.
Okay. You know, I've never understood the terminology for third down back. I know what you mean, but like, how did they come up with that? Because if it's third and one,
Because you're only throwing it on
if
third
it's
down every single
third
time.
and one, you don't want a third down back in the game.
You take Derrick Henry out and you put the guy that can catch a pass in.
And hand it off to him right up the gut.
Yeah.
Deion Lewis, get in there. My number 7 guy is Kylin Hill out of Mississippi State. So Kylin Hill is the most jumpy running back I have ever seen. Like, he literally, like, there's no reason to jump, and he's jumping no matter what. Like, it's like, pylon, jump. Man in front of me, jump. Juke, jump. Everything is jump. It's the most unique running style. It maybe isn't the most unique running style I've ever seen, but it's got an element to it that I just don't think like anybody else has. It's all jumpy. Continuing, Kylin Hill, extremely jumpy. Said that, but realistically, the thing that I kind of reason I put him ahead of these other guys is he really is a receiving back. This is definitely a threat out of the backfield, and I just think that he's really good in that department. And like I said, that's where we're going with the NFL. So I think he's a more attractive commodity to me than these other guys I have ranked below him.
Yeah.
That was number 7 for me, by the way.
7? All right. At 7 for me, I got Chuba Hubbard. Like you mentioned, he's got top end speed. If if the D does not touch him like 2 yards plus or minus the line of scrimmage, he's going to score a touchdown because he's going to outrun everyone. At least that's what it seemed like watching his highlights. Yeah, or not score a touchdown. I said he's going to get at least 30 yards because
Oh,
that's where it seemed he
oh,
would get before a safety got him. Uh, yeah, it's I one thing that I noticed was he did some returning his freshman and sophomore years, and then last year he didn't do any. But I think that's where he's going to be able to carve a role for himself with a team because of his speed. Not that, fastest guys on teams are always the returners, but he's
yeah. Some of those
kind of
guys have awful vision.
yeah, but he didn't seem like he had terrible vision, and they had him returning when he was freshman and a sophomore, and then he became their featured back. So I think that's why they went away from it, which is weird because it's college. And Saquon Barkley was returning kicks and punts when he was at Penn State.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I
Yeah,
I just think that that's the one spot where he could really carve a role for himself. So
that makes sense to me. I don't really love him as a just what would you call him? More than like anything more than a spellback. I am definitely against having him do that.
yeah,
But yeah,
he'll
interesting.
be.
Interesting in the return game. I would be interested to see that.
Mhm.
He just wasn't. He just wasn't showing me how. I wasn't really amazed by his elusiveness, just his speed. So
Yeah, but I mean, one could I'm not making this argument, but one could argue that his elusiveness is his speed because he's so elusive because of how fast he is.
yeah,
He's going to be a good running back for a team that already has a like featured back or a number one back.
I mean,
So,
what was wild about somebody like Hester was that a lot of these guys that you see returning nowadays, here's another example. Here's a good comparison. Same time period though. Josh Cribbs was another guy who was really good at returning kicks at the time when Devin Hester was around. The thing that was crazy about Hester is Hester was so fast while being so elusive. Whereas somebody like Cribbs didn't have as much speed as Hester. I don't even think it was really that close. But he was elusive. So one of those elements, having those really can make you a good kick returner because Cribbs was plenty good. But you really need a combination of those to be like a great return man. So,
mhm.
but I definitely think that you're onto something there if you got Hubbard. Just with that speed in the return game, I think it as a weapon because I mean, yeah, if you've got guys coming in a wall pattern, so if you get past the wall, no one's going to catch him from behind.
Mhm.
My number 6 guy is Kenneth Gainwell from Memphis. I don't really have a lot to say on him, but I liked what I saw. He seemed fast, but the knock on him is just that I do wonder if his competition makes him look better than he is. He's basically the see no comparisons today. I'm not making any comparisons to players. But he is the anti. So this is not comparisons. I'm not saying that players are the same. This is the opposite. I'm saying that they're different. He's the anti Lev Bell because he's still willing to cut back, which Bell does every once in a while. But basically he gets the ball and he hits the hole about as fast as anyone I've ever seen, or at least it felt like it. I don't know. It could have been the fact that I watch some of these guys on double speed sometimes and then go back to normal for other guys to try to get a decent comparison. But it felt like he was just hitting the hole so quickly once he got the ball in his hands, and he was just getting up the field, getting you some guaranteed yardage every time he touched the ball. And that's what I really liked about him is that it doesn't seem like you would have to hold your blocks long for him to at least get a nice initial amount of yardage, and then on top of that, once he would get down the field, then he would work stuff in with like cutbacks and more. So I just liked the way he did that because I mean it really means that your offensive linemen don't need to do much to get like a guaranteed 3, 4, 5 yards on a run play.
Yeah, I also have him. So discuss him when I get to him. At 6 for me, I got Javonte Williams. He was number 10 for you. But you said he could move up a little bit. I have him a little bit higher than where you had him. But I think a lot of what I overvalued that you undervalued was his speed. He appears really really fast, and like you said, the Miami game where he just
Yeah,
balled out and had a lot of good plays. He
yeah,
didn't really match it with any other game that season.
no.
But
The other kid from NC also did well against Miami, and I feel like there was other running backs too that when they played Miami, Miami's
mhm,
defense just looked terrible. I'm not
mhm.
gonna lie. Just
but
from
they have the
watching
top
these
two.
running backs,
They
they
have the
look
top two
terrible.
D line prospects though.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Definitely
Um,
something interesting there.
yeah. Uh, Continue with Javante though. He breaks tackles like a maniac. Uh, Again, specifically in the Miami game, did it better than in the rest of his games, but he has a knack at finding a way to get away from tackles and break out of them. Uh, did a lot to find the end zone. He would put, I mean, again, specifically in that Miami game, he like did a combination of like a string of four moves in a row to get past four different guys to get into the end zone. Uh, yeah, he has the speed to outrun a corner, has the strength out to run over a linebacker at times. He's a pretty balanced running back. Uh, yeah, he has a lot. He has big holes to run through, and he hits them hard and fast. So that's kind of a positive and a knock on him. He hits his holes hard and fast, but his holes are absolutely huge.
Yeah, the Miami game felt like an outlier. If he did that every game, okay, we're looking a lot different in from my perspective. I'm looking at him a lot differently. The thing is, he only did it in that Miami game, and that scares me. I mean, I don't know. There's no way that we're ever gonna know the reason that that game like made him look so much more impressive than any other game. But if we're taking the average baseline for how I saw him play, I it's and it's not that Miami game. It's not even close to that Miami game, and it just felt like a complete outlier. And honestly, yeah, he did look good breaking tackles in the Miami game, but he didn't feel like he was again one of the guys, like I said earlier, that he wasn't creating anything outside of the Miami game. I will give him the Miami game. I don't know what happened. It feels like a completely different player. But every other game, it just felt like he was only getting what the offensive line gave him, and I think there is some credit that needs to go to North Carolina's O line play.
hmm Yeah, I agree with that. I just have him over the guys that I have him over because he's more of a balanced running back than the guys I have below him, and he's not as fast as Chuba Hubbard, but he has like the speed to kind of
Yeah, you don't
keep up with those
you
guys.
didn't rank him like terribly high. Like if you put him like top 3, I would have been like, "Oh, really?" But
Yeah,
no,
no,
I
that
mean,
he seems to be like the consensus third overall back
I don't think
behind
that's
the
right at
top
all.
two guys.
I don't think that's right at all. And I don't necessarily even think that all these guys I have. I mean, like I said before, there's like two guys in front of him that maybe I'd be willing to move around because they're kind of in the same tier with Herbert and Hubbard. With what I kind of think of what they can do, they're kind of in that same area. But yeah, no, I don't even like him in like the top 7, let alone top 5. He would not crack the top 5 for me, like even close. Um, Top 5 now though is where we're at, and this is really kind of where I'm actually really like these guys. These top 5 guys are the guys I really like. Do you have a number on your list that kind of meets like the area where you actually really start liking guys, or is it higher, lower, or what?
4 for me.
4. Okay. Well, I don't know. You may not like fullback Buddy as much as me, so um, but number 5 for me, Trey Sermon out of Ohio State. Really just tremendously balanced. He can do nearly everything, and he's got perfect size. I mean, I didn't even need to watch, like, I watched a little bit more than this, but literally just watching one game where he rushes for 331 yards. I mean, that's insane. So, Trey Sermon, Ohio State, tremendously balanced running back. He can do nearly everything. He's the perfect size. I don't know why people have him so low. And honestly, the thing that's tough talking about him is I really didn't get I didn't get the vibe of he's good or bad at anything particularly. Definitely not bad at anything. Just I couldn't figure out why he what people were thinking that made him drop so much for everybody else. It seemed like he was low on the list I was looking at. I don't know where he ranks in terms of your list, in terms of what other people said about him, but he just didn't make sense to me why people ranked him so low. And then it's kind of hard to talk about him still because it's not like you could point out anything so clearly that are his strengths, because his strengths were really basically across the board pretty balanced. It's just nothing I guess off the charts. I don't know.
Yeah, I have him on my list, so
Okay, you'll talk about it.
I'll discuss him when I get to him.
Who's five
At
for you?
five for me, I have Kenneth Gainwell. First of all, great name for a running back. Gainwell's just awesome. I mean, if he doesn't get drafted just because of that name alone, his skill set does help him.
You know whose name I didn't like when I was younger that's similar?
Who?
Beanie Wells, I think it was. Do you remember that name? I don't know why that name bothered me. And he was a running back too. Sorry, keep going.
But for him, I had that because since you're not doing the comparisons, I felt like I had to ramp up the comparisons for me.
Oh boy.
I wrote that he is Antonio Gibson-esque, and not just because he went to Memphis. I really do feel like he kind of amplifies the traits that Antonio Gibson was good at.
I'm still waiting for Darrell Henderson to get some carries.
Yeah. He really makes the most of his catches out of the backfield and gets a lot of rack from them. His size is a weird middle ground, which of height and weight. He's 5'11", 190, which I was like, oh, that's kind of just an in between for both. You're not 5'9", which is what every single running back's height seems to be, and you're also not 6'1", 6 foot, where it's oh, you're a big, powerful or back, or you're a big wide receiver that plays running back, something like that. He's just in a weird middle ground. His weight too is a weird middle ground. I compared him to Michael Carter, the other running back from North Carolina, because I watched Michael Carter before him, and I said unlike Michael Carter, who I said when I wrote down for him, Michael Carter really only has, at least in the NFL, I think, the ability to be a third down back, where he is going to be on the field in pass catching situations, and he's not going to be getting a lot of handoffs. Kenneth Gainwell has the ability to play every single down, take handoffs, catch passes out of the backfield, and make the most out of every single touch. So that's what I had for him.
Okay, I think I got Michael Carter up next at number 4.
Oh.
Feel like we're a little bit different on what we think of him though. Great cutback decisions. Very unique sidestep juke. It's a very interesting thing. It's not like the standard issue thing where you're running at a guy and you're initially going this way and then you cut back on him and juke that way. He's kind of got the he uses the stutter step juke almost to make defenders think he's cutting back. And then what he does with that is he actually uses it to branch off and then break out to the edge. And he did this a lot. And he really did, because of that move alone, which is a very unique one that not a lot of other guys have. It allowed him to catch the edge a lot and get a lot of big yardage plays, which I really liked. Once again, you said receiving back out of the backfield. I liked that, but I guess I didn't really feel like he was as limited to only being a receiving back as you did. That's basically what I got to say on him.
Mm. I have him at 11 on my list. He's kind of one of those guys where I couldn't find a way to get him on because I wanted him to be 10. That's what I wanted him to be. I wanted him to be 10. And then to round my list out to, well, at the time 15 before I started watching the fullbacks, and I was like, this guy's a running back, so I'm going to put him on my list. He was 10, and then Puka Williams, I watched him, and I was like, Puka Williams is 10. So he got knocked down to 11. I do agree with you. He's very shifty and quick with his decisions.
Wait, Puka Williams was the guy who was the fullback and is now listed?
No.
Okay.
Puka Williams is
thought,
not the runner.
Okay.
He was
you just threw me off for a second there.
Yeah. The fullback, I moved him on here, and he made it 16. But Puka Williams, I put him on to make it 15. Michael Carter, though, yeah, it just seemed like North Carolina had him out on the field because Javonte Williams wasn't catching a lot of passes from what I saw. So they're like, oh, well, we need a running back that can catch passes. So let's put Michael Carter out there to go catch passes. And my biggest knock on him was that where it just seemed like I wasn't watching a lot of it. I felt like I did. I watched 2 different videos on him. It seemed like he was more of a pass catcher out of the backfield. And, hold on.
I didn't catch that vibe.
Yeah. My last thing is he just looked like he was running in slow motion a lot of times. Like, not like, oh, wow, he really made that juke really quick. He was running in slow motion. It just looked like he was running really slow.
Well, guess what? People aren't expecting it. It's nasty. No, the thing is that I don't know how much I can use this because I don't know how far into the season this was, but one of the commentators in one of the videos said that both running backs were averaging over 100 yards a game rushing.
I did not get that feeling when I was watching him. He just seemed like he was gobbling up passes.
I don't know how far into the season that was. That could have only been 2 games. But, I mean, still, I didn't think that he was as limited as you seem to. So where are we at 3, now? Right?
3, 4 for me.
Oh, you didn't say your 4th yet.
Yes.
Sorry.
At 4, and this is where my list of backs that I really like starts. Trey Sermon at 4. Like you said, he's very, very balanced. He's good at like everything. And that might be why people think he's low. Obviously I don't have him low. He's number 4 on my list. But maybe that's why people think he's low, because he's not extremely good at one skill that they could be like, oh yeah, he's really good at this, but he can work on everything and then be really good. Looking at what I said about him, yeah, he's a powerful back that has some pizzazz. His speed was confusing to me, because on some plays it looked like he was jogging, and then on other plays he was just burning defensive backs to score. It was like, dude, why not just have it in high gear all the time? But it's just like, oh, you had a 30-yard gain, but you probably could have gotten the 50-yard touchdown there if you didn't like jog or what. Not that I'm saying he was jogging. It's just there were times where his like speed did not reflect like what I saw from play to play.
It's just understanding when you got to kick it into gear. He's just slowing up just to like help out his teammates. Let the blockers get in front of him a little bit.
Mm-hmm. But when he is about to get caught, he finds a way to seek contact. Same way as who did I say that for? Khalil Herbert.
Oh,
yeah, Khalil Herbert. He just finds a way, like, oh, okay, if you're gonna stop me from scoring, you better stop me from scoring and try to run at them, which I liked. And then the last 2 things that I have are towels are always flying around him when he's about to go down. I think every single play that he was getting tackled, a towel flew somewhere. Maybe not his, but someone's towel came off. So
That's a very unique
that's an
piece of
intangible.
analysis.
That's an intangible that they value at the next level. And I love Justin Fields, like
Oh my
40,
gosh, that's what I was
50
gonna
yard
say.
50-yard
I
downfield block that he threw for
I
him.
don't. Yeah, no, I forgot to write that down. No, we're looking. Justin Fields is looking like the next David Garrard or Achilles Smith, one of those two. That's great company to be in for anybody who doesn't understand. That is great company. Best downfield blocking quarterbacks I've ever seen. David Garrard especially. Oh my gosh, Justin Fields. I'm excited to get him in the league. That's the type of quarterback I want to see. I want to see them run toss, have him fake his bootleg out the other way, and then see the cutback across the field, and then see him like Hines Ward crackback block a linebacker. It'd be absolutely amazing.
Oh man.
Oh boy. Yeah, no. Okay. So should I go to my number 3 player?
Yes.
You haven't mentioned him yet. Is he actually this high for you, or is he not on your list?
We'll see.
Randray Stevenson from Oklahoma. He is way too quick for his height and weight. If you are 246 pounds and you run that fast, there needs to be like a decent body like mass to height comparison. So it's like you should probably be like at least 6'5", 6'6" at 246 pounds to run that fast. But he's 6 feet tall and he's 246 pounds somehow. I don't know if that's just what they weighed him in as, and then he cut weight like during the season or when he was playing, and they just left that number the whole time.
Didn't look it.
But he's running insanely fast. No one wants to tackle him, and I mean, with how things are going, it's looking like he's going to be bigger than most linebackers now. Like, linebackers are going to have a weight disadvantage against him. He's obviously a power back. I just don't know how many teams are looking for a power back style of player. I'd really, if I was a team that didn't have like a running, like, oh my gosh, send him to Seattle or something. Like, they're gonna hand the ball off way too much anyways. Like, give him to Seattle and just let him go crazy. And they re-signed Carson and whatever, but oh my gosh, give this guy to somebody who's just gonna pound the rock all day. Be absolutely tremendous to see. But there's not too many teams left that want to do that, so I don't know.
Yeah, for me, I had him at 12. Maybe it's due in part of me not really caring because he was on that fullback list. I was like, he's a running back. I did watch him. He's a good running back. And another part of it was he's a power back, and that just seems like teams are going away from that now. So he's probably not going to be as valued as much, though he is pretty elusive when he catches balls and he's running. And when he's making jukes, they look so goofy though, because he'll like, give a guy a little juke, and then he'll be stumbling after it because he's like, I can't believe I just did that.
Well, I mean, it's very enjoyable to go back and see the bounciness of big guys, where it's just like this guy's corner, this safety, or even this linebacker in this guy's instance comes up and tries to like lay a leg on him, and it's just like ragdolls off of him. Like, oh jeez, that is so funny. I love seeing that.
I mean, it'd be fun to see him as a fullback in the NFL.
No, I want to see him get handoffs. I would love Seattle.
You don't know the direction that
Baltimore,
Arthur Smith is going in Atlanta. You don't know the way.
Really?
You don't know the direction he's going.
I hope that's what they're doing.
The Browns won so many. The Browns won so many championships using Jim Brown at fullback, and that's what we're gonna do now.
I hope that's what they're doing. But no, Baltimore has too many running backs, so I don't think they're gonna get them, or at least they've invested too much into running backs recently. I don't think they would go for another one. Pittsburgh could be fun. Seattle once again. I don't know about these zone teams. I don't know if zone teams want him as much, like San Fran and LA. So I don't know about them. And besides that, I mean, there's not a lot of places that have. Maybe New England could go power run. They loved when they had Blunt. So I mean, It's an interesting thought.
I mean,
It's
if
an
they're
interesting
running,
thought.
if New England's gonna be running,
I want somebody to pick him, and I want somebody to actually use him. I don't want somebody to just pick him and throw him on the back burner. Like it seems like all these guys that you get excited about for late round picks just never actually get to touch the field. I mean, they may not be that good in practice, but at some point, if you spend a pick on him, at least put him on the field.
yeah. Well, with New England, seemingly running 12 personnel every single play now,
That
be a
would
great
be
fit.
exciting. That would be exciting. But you're wrong. It's gonna be 32 personnel.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. um, at 3 for me, I got my favorite running back to watch this whole time, and Kylin Hill.
Oh, okay.
Like you said, he is in his bag at all times in the open field. He will run past you. He will juke you out of your shoes. He will run over you. But his favorite is to jump over you.
No, but I mean, like, but what I was saying earlier, I don't know if I got this point across well enough. Is not only is he trying to hurdle you, but just like, the end zone's nearby. Okay, I'm diving in, or just jukes. Like jukes aren't even jukes to him. They're like massive jump cut. Like everything is jumping. It's not.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to violate the number one rule in all sports of like never leave your feet, you might as well do it every single time.
Every play of the game.
Yeah, I love it. He has a lot of plays that just make you go, wow, I can't believe he did that. And with that, you have other plays that you just go, oh my god, because he's jumping over guys when he's at like the 45-yard line. It's like, bro, you don't have a chance to score from here.
Pick up a few more yards.
Yeah, it reminds me of that Texas A&M quarterback that jumps and he gets helicoptered like 35 feet into the air.
Yep.
I absolutely loved it. He has a knack of making something out of nothing. His O-line didn't do a great job like blocking for him. So when he gained yards, it was mainly him doing everything to like juke past guys, jump over guys. I love it. He has a lot of moves, a lot of stuff you can work in. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be that hard for a coach to tell him, hey, don't jump every run. So he has a lot of potential. He has a lot of moves that he can do.
Why would
He's
you
really
take away
quick.
his greatest asset, though?
Oh, I'm not saying. See, this he's you said that Randray Stevenson?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a great fit in New England. Kylin Hill isn't, because Belichick would tell him to not jump, and he'd be like, "Coach, I can't do that."
Yes, this is a good exercise. Where is Kylin Hill a good fit?
Any team.
Any team except New England. Any team.
If there is a team that I specifically want him to go to, I don't mean this because I want him to go to the Texans because he will be the best player on the Texans. He will be the best player on the Texans if he goes there.
He will die.
And Texans games will be so much more fun to watch if he is their lead back.
How about the number 2 to Saquon? Because we don't even know if Saquon's going to be good, but Saquon's like our active leader in jumping for joy RB play.
We need a backup scheme fit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Saquon's coming off injury too, so I mean there is some potential risk there of maybe like being scared that Saquon may not come back strong. I mean, we get Kylin Hill in the building. That's his name, right? Kylin Hill.
Yeah, Kylin Hill. Yeah.
But I'm going NYG.
All right. I really want him to go to Houston because he will be the feature back there. Who does he have to compete with? Mark Ingram and David Johnson?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't know who's there. Mark Ingram is. I don't know. Was something up with David Johnson? Did something change there?
I don't know. I know that they cut Duke Johnson.
Okay. Best receiving back in the league. That's kind of messed up. Oh well. Number 1 and 2, they're pretty hard to rank. Like really,
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
It's basically what you just like more.
Yeah, it's gonna be team preference, really. I think. I mean, with Harris, you get a little more size. Probably that's I mean they play pretty similarly still. Just
Hmm.
seems like you're getting a little bit more power with Harris is how I interpret it. You may interpret it a little differently, but because of that, like I said, like I've been saying the whole time, is we're trying to get smaller players, not bigger players. So we'll put ETN ahead of Najee for this, but Najee is I can't believe his hurdle ability like with his size. I mean, I'm impressed with that. That wasn't as much as Kylan, but not
Of
as
course,
jumpy as Kylan,
of
but still
course.
impressed with it. He's great out of the backfield. He's fairly powerful runner and great vision and ability to find holes. And just like ETN, except I think ETN does this at a higher level. Is solid balance. I mean, balance at
Hmm.
the running back position is in insanely important, obviously, and that's just what we got for Najee. Just slightly worse in the balance department than ETN because ETN's doing it at an insane level, in my opinion.
Uh, for me, I have it the same way you do. I have Najee at 2. Uh, what he lacks in balance that ETN has, I gave him the edge, and I watched Trevor Lawrence highlights too to like see him in pass pro. It's ETN, and I watched Mac Jones highlights to see them both in pass pro. Uh, ETN is not in pass pro a lot. Usually he is running around, but when Najee Harris was in pass pro, he did a really good job of picking up the unblocked guy. Uh, so I gave him the edge in that, gave ETN the edge in balance, and it's kind of like a toss up. It's 1A, 1B. What do you like more? What do you think's going to work better in your system? Who did better in their interview? That's basically just how it's going to work out.
Yeah. Um. Then ETN at 1. I guess the only other thing that really say about him is like you really have if you don't have like the perfect form tackle on him, you're gonna have a
Mm-hmm.
very tough time bringing him down. Talk about the Michael Carter or sorry, not Michael Carter, Javonte Williams, Miami play that was so insane where he broke like 4 tackles. Not the one I'm thinking of. I don't think it was a touchdown though. But there isn't a different play against Miami where he breaks like 4 tackles, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, but ETN's doing ETN's doing this like on a game by game basis, and maybe not 4 of those broken tackles in one play, but I mean it feels like almost every play you're watching, he's doing something that was that like I've been preaching on the whole time was not created for him. He's creating opportunities that
Mm-hmm.
weren't there, and he's doing it at a very high level. And basically, the only one that's seemingly coming close to him is Najee Harris.
Yeah. Uh, for ETN, uh, because I was picking up the comparisons because you said you weren't doing them anymore. Alvin Kamara, everyone's compared him to Alvin Kamara. He's so much like him.
Well, he is.
Uh, he has tremendous burst to get through holes. And with the other guys, like you said, the guys lower on my list too. They have their O line doing a majority of the work, making holes for them to run through. ETN, Clemson's O line does give him holes to run through, but he does a lot catching out of the backfield that the O line has nothing, like they can't say that they did anything for that. That's him making a play, getting open for himself, and then doing a lot after the catch with that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh and yeah, like you said with tackling, this is a major thing that I made sure to write down. You cannot arm tackle him. You have to treat him like he is like Derrick Henry. You have to have a good form tackle on him, or you're not going to bring him down.
Yeah, no, it's wild. It's gonna be fun. I'm really interested to see what happens uh, with him in the NFL. And running back is just such. I mean, we already talked about it with Kylin Hill, and I said it about Randray Stevenson. Is is it Stevenson? Yeah, I think it's Stevenson. I just misspelled it. It's just so weird to figure out like what team's gonna want him and how a team's gonna utilize him. The only guy that came in as a rookie last year that I knew was gonna like be a significant rookie running back for their team was Antonio Gibson, because you just looked at Washington and it was like, dude, they've got no one. They have to use him. He's going to have to be the number one. But even like Jonathan Taylor in Indianapolis, he obviously ended up having a very good season, but like couldn't see it coming because you still had Nyheim Hines and Marlon Mack there. Like I feel like it took like a few injuries, or at least guys sitting out for whatever reason, that it actually got him the opportunity to get into a game and then finally playing, and then they finally said, okay, you can stay in the game. But that wasn't immediate, and I'm really interested to see where these guys land this year because of that, because running back is such an interesting position to see how the depth chart plays out for whatever teams they end up on. And I don't know how high they're going to go. I mean, a lot of these guys could be valued completely differently by some teams to another. Like, if we say that ETN is going to be at Kamara's level when he enters the league, like, if we know that, where are we going to pick him? Like, I mean, as high as, like, I mean, we don't
16
love running
where
back.
the cards are. 16 is where the cards are, and that's where I think is the first spot where either him or Harris could go.
Yeah, it's just weird with running backs now. It's getting, there's a lot of stuff with running backs that's all over the place nowadays.
I think it's really weird how running back is being such an undervalued position, but at the same time, so many mock drafts and just people in general are like, oh yeah, this guy is a top 20 player in the draft.
Well, I mean, I saw mock drafts with Carter going in the first round, and I'm like,
really?
Either Carter or Javonte.
I think it was Williams. I think because he's like the consensus 3.
Either way. No, I actually think it was both of them. I think it was both of them, actually.
So they had 4 running backs going in the first then?
Yeah, I saw it somewhere, but I think I did see that, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, yes, Najee and Etienne are talented enough, but even though they're talented enough, I don't know if teams will actually pull the trigger on them because they're running backs, and it's a positional label.
Yeah, if no one pulls it in the first, I mean, it would be funny to see Trevor Lawrence and ETN back together in Jacksonville. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I kind of like it, man. But it's so hard with running backs because it's like, you have James Robinson, right? That's his name. He just had a great rookie season, but they had no other production at the running back position at all. So like, where do you draw the line? Like, yeah, this guy's a great talent. Do we really want to split carries between these guys? Is that going to create any sort of issues or anything? I don't know. That one would probably be okay, but I just get nervous about having 2 guys that are like, I'm the number one, and then them having to split time. I don't know if that would create any sort of I don't know. It's just you could have picks there that would also be good picks that then wouldn't turn into problems in something like the locker room or something.
With that whole 2 guys saying I'm the number one, I find it hard. Like, I believe it. I believe that could happen, but I just find a hard time imagining
just
that.
Pick a North Carolina back because they're already doing that.
Yeah, I find a hard time imagining that in the NFL because I think if 2 guys were like, I'm a number one, we'd be like, okay, well, we'll just trade you or cut you, and then we'll bring in 3 mediocre guys that we could just split carries between the 3 of them because the 3 of them know that they're mediocre.
Marlon Mack's re-signing with Indianapolis. So. I'm so mad about that. It's unbelievable. I can't believe no one would pay him more than $2.5 million a season. That's insane. Give him $4 million to come to your team for 1 year, and you'll be so happy you did. Sorry, not supposed to complain.
He just really wanted to be the 3rd back in Indianapolis.
Honestly, it's amazing how much Jonathan Taylor can't catch. That's still amazing.
No, Jonathan Taylor is like, even Derrick Henry can catch the ball if they need him to. Jonathan Taylor just can't.
Well, the Titans have one of the best screen games in the league, so he better be able to catch the ball. I don't know if they will continue since their offensive coordinator is gone, but
it's just, Jonathan Taylor can't catch, so we need a whole nother guy whose only job is to catch the ball.
And then it was like, okay, well, we got to stop putting him in because then we know they're going to pass, and then they leave Taylor in, and then he just keeps dropping the ball, and it's just like, oh my gosh. Man, they would have beat the Bills. If Taylor catches those passes, they probably beat the Bills.
Yeah,
Maybe you need that Pittman diving catch too, but I mean that was pretty scary. I mean, jeez. All right, we all set?
Yeah, I think we could cut it here.